Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, we live in a world where love should be a place of peace, joy, and security. Yet so many are trapped in relationships that drain their souls, steal their joy, and shackle their hearts. I'm talking about toxic relationships, relationships that poison your spirit, break your confidence, and leave you feeling lost. Tonight I want to open your eyes. I want you to see the signs of a toxic relationship. Not just with people, but even the toxic relationship you might have with yourself. If you recognize these signs, my friend, you need to break free. Control instead of love. True love sets you free, but a toxic person, they control you. They tell you who to talk to, where to go, what to wear. That is not love. That is a prison. God did not create you to be chained to someone else's insecurities. If you feel like you can't breathe in your relationship, it's time to step back. Constant criticism. A loving relationship builds you up, but a toxic one, it tears you down. You're not good enough. You'll never make it without me. You're too fat, too thin, too dumb, too ugly. Oh, my friends, those are lies from the pit of hell. God made you fearfully and wonderfully. If someone constantly puts you down, that's not love, that's manipulation. Fear replaces peace. When you're in love, you should feel safe, but in a toxic relationship, you feel afraid. Afraid to speak up. Afraid to say no, afraid of their anger, their silence, their rejection. That is not from God. The Bible says perfect love casts out fear. If fear is present, love is absent. You feel emotionally drained. A good relationship fills your soul, but a toxic one, it empties you. You used to smile, but now you just survive. You used to dream, but now you just exist. You used to love yourself, but now you don't even recognize yourself. That's because toxic people don't pour into you. They suck the life out of you. Jealousy and distrust. Love is built on trust, but a toxic relationship is built on suspicion. Where were you? Who were you talking to? Why didn't you answer my text in 10 seconds? Oh, my friend, when love turns into a crime investigation, it's already dead. Manipulation and guilt. A toxic person will use your love against you. They will cry, beg, threaten. They will make you feel guilty for leaving. They will say, after all I've done for you, how could you? But listen to me. Real love doesn't trap you with guilt. It releases you with grace. Lies and deception. If someone constantly lies to you, that's not love. That's betrayal. And a toxic person will twist the truth. They will hide things. They will make you feel crazy for even questioning them. God is a God of truth. If someone loves you, they won't deceive you. Physical, verbal, or emotional abuse. Now listen carefully. If someone hits you, that is not love. Screams at you, that is not love. Destroys your confidence, that is not love. God did not create you to be a punching bag. You are precious. You are worthy of love that does not hurt. Isolation from family and friends. A toxic person will separate you from the ones who love you. They don't want you to talk to your parents. They don't want you to see your friends. They want you all to themselves. Not out of love, but out of control. Oh, my friend, love does not isolate. It connects. You feel stuck, but you're too scared to leave. Maybe you're listening right now and your heart is screaming, that me. You know it's toxic. You know it's killing your spirit. You know you should walk away, but you're afraid. Let me tell you something. God did not give you a spirit of fear. If you feel trapped, if you feel hopeless, if you feel like you will never be loved again, that is a lie. God has something better for you. But you have to be brave enough to walk away. Some of you right now are in toxic relationships. It's time to make a decision. Do you stay in pain or do you choose freedom? Do you keep making excuses, or do you take a stand? Do you let someone else define your worth, or do you step into the love that God has for you? Love should not destroy you, it should restore you. My dear friend, if you saw yourself in these signs, don't wait, don't hesitate, don't stay stuck, because I promise you there is a better love waiting for you on the other side. It's time to break free. It's time to heal. It's time to walk into the life God has for you. God bless you. This speech follows Billy Graham's fiery, passionate, and soul-stirring style designed to hook the audience from start to finish. Let me know if you'd like any modifications. Love is meant to be the most beautiful experience in our lives. It is a gift from God, a sacred bond that brings two souls together in harmony and peace, in understanding. But what happens when love is replaced by control? What happens when the warm embrace of love turns into the cold chains of manipulation? My friends, let me tell you today, love is not control, and control is not love. When you love someone, you do not seek to own them. You do not dictate their every move, their every thought, their every word. But a toxic relationship does not understand this truth. A toxic person believes that love is about possession, not partnership. They want to dominate, not cherish. They want to command, not care. Let me ask you something. Have you ever seen a bird in a golden cage? The owner may say, "Look at this beautiful bird. I feed it the best seeds, I give it a lovely home, I take care of it," but the truth is that bird is trapped. No matter how golden the cage, no matter how beautiful it looks from the outside, the bird is not free. It cannot fly. It cannot choose its own path. It cannot spread its wings and feel the sky. And what happens to a bird that is caged for too long? It stops singing. It loses its joy, its soul, its very reason for being. My dear friend, if you are in a relationship where you feel caged, where you feel like you cannot breathe, that is not love, that is control. Love does not restrict, it releases. Love does not confine, it empowers. Love does not chain you down, it sets you free. Maybe you have been in a relationship where every decision had to be approved by the other person. Where are you going? Who are you texting? Why didn't you answer my call immediately? I don't like when you talk to that friend. Why do you wear that outfit? At first it might seem like concern. It might even feel like love. Oh, they just care about me. They just want to make sure I'm safe. They just love me so much. But over time, that concern turns into chains. You start questioning yourself. Should I ask for permission before making plans? Should I stop talking to my friends? Should I change the way I dress? Slowly, piece by piece, you stop being yourself. Imagine a person holding a handful of sand. If they hold it loosely, the sand stays in their hand. But the moment they squeeze too tight, what happens? The sand slips through their fingers. That is exactly what happens when control replaces love. The more someone tries to own you, the more they push you away. I know people who have lost themselves in toxic relationships. I know women who were once strong, independent, full of laughter and dreams, but they fell into the hands of a controlling partner. Now they walk on eggshells. Now they apologize for things that are not their fault. Now they are afraid to speak their minds. That is not love, that is bondage. I know men who were once full of confidence, full of life, but they found themselves with a partner who dictated every move. They could no longer make decisions without being questioned. They could no longer enjoy time with their friends without being accused. They could no longer breathe without feeling guilty. That is not love. That is prison. And let me tell you something, even in a marriage, even in a committed relationship, even in a lifelong partnership, control is not love. God did not create marriage for one person to rule over another. He did not create love so that one partner could dominate the other. Love is mutual. Love is respect. Love is freedom. Think about the love of a parent for their child. A mother does not say, I love you, so I will never let you out of my sight. No, she says, I love you, so I will teach you how to walk on your own. A father does not say, I love you, so I will make all your decisions for you. No, he says, I love you, so I will guide you, but you must choose your own path. That is true love, a love that empowers, not imprisons. Now, let me ask you, are you in a relationship where you feel controlled? Do you feel like you have to justify every move? Do you feel like you cannot be yourself anymore? Do you feel like your partner's love comes with conditions, rules, expectations that drain your soul? If so, my dear friend, that is not love. And let me say this, sometimes the one controlling you is not another person. Sometimes the one controlling you is you. Maybe you have told yourself, if I don't do everything perfectly, no one will love me. Maybe you have convinced yourself, I must always please others or I will be alone. Maybe you have become your own worst captor, keeping yourself trapped in relationships that hurt, in situations that steal your joy. But today I want to tell you something. It is time to break free. You were not created to be someone's prisoner. You were not created to live in fear. You were not created to be controlled. You are meant to love and be loved in a way that makes you flourish, not fade. So if you recognize these signs in your relationship, don't ignore them. Don't make excuses. Don't stay in a situation where your soul is suffocating, because real love does not chain you, it lifts you. Real love does not silence you, it amplifies your voice. Real love does not demand control, it gives freedom. And my dear friend, you deserve real love. Love should be a place of safety, a place where you can be yourself without fear of judgment. It should be a place where you are lifted up, encouraged, and reminded of your worth. But what happens when love turns into a battlefield where every word spoken to you is an attack, a wound, a reminder that you are never enough? My friend, that is not love. That is constant criticism. Criticism in a relationship is like a slow poison. It does not always kill instantly, but little by little it drains your spirit. At first, it may seem harmless, maybe even well-intended. A comment here, a remark there, you brush it off, thinking, they just want the best for me. But over time, the words begin to cut deeper. Why do you always say such stupid things? You can't even do one simple thing right. You're gaining weight, maybe you should eat less. You'll never be successful if you keep acting like that. Nobody else would put up with you, you know that? At first you may argue back, you may defend yourself, you may even laugh it off, but after hearing it enough times, you start to believe it. Imagine a sculptor chipping away at a block of marble. With each strike of the hammer, the marble loses a piece of itself. Now, if the sculptor is an artist, he will create something beautiful, but if the sculptor does not know what he is doing, he will keep chipping, keep striking, keep breaking until there is nothing left. This is what constant criticism does to a person. It chips away at their confidence, their self-worth, their identity. The words may not leave visible scars, but oh, my friend, the wounds are there. Deep, invisible, painful. I have seen people who were once full of joy, full of laughter, full of dreams, but after years of being told they were not good enough, they stopped dreaming. They stopped trying. They stopped believing in themselves. I once knew a woman who was a brilliant artist. She painted with passion, with life, with colors that could make your soul dance. But she married a man who never saw the beauty in her work. This is what you waste your time on? No one will ever buy this junk. You should focus on something useful. At first, she tried to ignore him. She kept painting, kept creating, but the words kept coming year after year. And one day, she put her brushes down and never picked them up again. Her gift, her passion, her joy, gone, buried under the weight of criticism. Maybe you have been in a relationship like this. Maybe you have had a partner who never saw the good in you, only the flaws. Maybe you have tried again and again to be better, to be enough, but no matter what you did, the criticism never stopped. You got a promotion? Well, it's about time. You lost weight? You still have a long way to go. You cooked dinner? It could use more seasoning. You tried to express your feelings? You're too sensitive. Nothing is ever enough for a toxic person who thrives on criticism. And let me tell you something. They do not criticize you because there is something wrong with you. They criticize you because there is something broken in them. A person who constantly criticizes is often insecure themselves. They need to bring others down because they do not know how to lift themselves up. Instead of facing their own fears and failures, they project them onto you. But my dear friend, that is not your burden to carry. A loving partner does not tear you down, they build you up. A loving partner does not make you feel small, they remind you how big your potential is. A loving partner does not nitpick your every mistake, they celebrate your growth, your efforts, your victories. Imagine a child learning to walk. When they take their first steps, they stumble, they fall, but do their parents scold them? No, they cheer, they encourage, they celebrate. You're doing great, keep going, I'm so proud of you. Now imagine if instead of encouragement that child heard, "What's wrong with you? Why can't you walk right? Look at you falling again." So pathetic. Do you think that child would have the confidence to keep trying? Or would they sit down, afraid to move, afraid to fail? This is what constant criticism does to a person. It takes away their courage. It makes them afraid to try. It convinces them that no matter what they do, they will never be good enough. But let me tell you something today. You are enough. You were created with purpose, with value, with gifts that are meant to shine. If someone cannot see your worth, that does not mean you are worthless. If someone constantly points out your flaws, that does not mean you are flawed. If someone cannot appreciate who you are, that does not mean you need to change. It means they need to change their heart. So, my friend, I ask you today, are you in a relationship where you are constantly criticized? Do you feel like no matter what you do, it is never enough? Do you feel like you have lost yourself under the weight of someone else's negative words? If so, it's time to take back your voice. It's time to stand up and say, "I will not let your words define me." It's time to remember who you are, a person worthy of love, respect, and encouragement. And if someone cannot give you that, then hear me loud and clear. You are better off without them, because real love does not destroy, it restores. Real love does not criticize, it compliments. Real love does not make you feel small, it reminds you how incredible you truly are. And my friend, you are incredible. Never let anyone make you believe otherwise. Love is meant to be a place of rest, a sanctuary where you find comfort, security, and peace. It is meant to be the one thing in life that makes you feel safe no matter what storms are raging around you. But what happens when love no longer feels safe? What happens when instead of peace you feel fear? When you are constantly walking on eggshells, unsure of what will trigger an argument, a cold shoulder, or worse? My friend, that is not love. That is fear replacing peace. Love and fear cannot exist in the same space. Where there is love, there is security. Where there is love, there is trust. Where there is love, there is a feeling of being home. But when fear takes over, that home no longer feels like a refuge. It feels like a prison. Maybe you've been there. Maybe you've felt the weight of anxiety in your chest when your partner's car pulls into the driveway. Maybe you've rehearsed your words 100 times before speaking, afraid that one wrong sentence could lead to anger, criticism, or emotional withdrawal. Maybe you've learned to stay silent rather than speak your mind because every conversation turns into a fight. Maybe you found yourself apologizing, not because you did something wrong, but because you just want the tension to go away. You see, fear doesn't come all at once. It creeps in slowly, replacing the peace that once lived in your heart. At first, you might not even recognize it. You tell yourself this is normal. Every couple fights. But over time, the fights turn into patterns. The unpredictability turns into a way of life. And before you know it, you've forgotten what it feels like to be at peace. Imagine a woman who once laughed freely, who once spoke her mind without hesitation. But over the years, she learned that her laughter could be too loud, that her words could be too much. She learned that expressing her opinions could lead to conflict, so she stopped. She learned that disagreeing could result in the cold, suffocating silence of a partner who punishes with distance. So she agreed to everything, not because she truly agreed, but because it was easier than facing the fear of conflict. That is not love, that is fear. Imagine a man who once felt confident, full of life, sure of himself, but in his relationship, every decision he made was questioned. Every action he took was criticized. Every time he tried to share his struggles, they were dismissed or used against him later. He learned that showing emotion was a weakness. He learned that no matter how hard he tried, he would always be told he wasn't good enough. And so he stopped trying. He built walls around his heart, not to protect himself from the world, but to protect himself from the one person who was supposed to love him. That is not love. That is fear. Fear in a relationship doesn't always come in the form of shouting, threats, or visible abuse. Sometimes it's more subtle. It's the unpredictability, the uncertainty, the feeling of never knowing where you stand. One day they love you, the next day they are cold and distant. One moment they tell you that you are the best thing that ever happened to them. The next, they act as if you are a burden. And so you find yourself constantly trying to please them, to prove your worth, to keep the peace at all costs. You start to change, not because you want to, but because you are afraid of what will happen if you don't. You stop seeing your friends, not because you don't love them, but because you are afraid of making your partner upset. You stop doing the things you once loved, not because you no longer enjoy them, but because you are afraid of being judged. You stop expressing your true feelings, not because you don't have them, but because you are afraid of being misunderstood, dismissed, or made to feel like your feelings don't matter. Fear is exhausting. Fear is the opposite of love. And yet so many people stay in relationships where fear has replaced peace because they have been conditioned to believe that this is normal. They tell themselves, maybe I'm just overreacting. Maybe if I try harder, things will get better. Maybe this is what love is supposed to be like. But let me tell you today, real love does not make you afraid. Real love does not make you feel like you are walking through a minefield, never knowing when something will explode. Real love does not make you second guess your worth, your voice, your right to feel safe. Because love, true love, is peace. Love is knowing that no matter what, you are accepted. Love is knowing that your voice matters. Love is being able to breathe, to rest, to be yourself without fear of punishment. So let me ask you, my friend, are you in a relationship where fear has replaced peace? Do you feel more anxious than happy? Do you feel like you are constantly trying to avoid conflict? Do you feel like you have lost yourself in the process of trying to keep someone else happy? If the answer is yes, then it is time to step back and ask yourself, is this really love? Because love should never make you feel like you are drowning in fear. And let me tell you something important. You deserve peace. You deserve a love that makes you feel safe. A love that doesn't make you afraid to speak, to laugh, to live. A love that allows you to be fully and unapologetically yourself. If fear has replaced peace in your relationship, it is time to reclaim the peace you were meant to have. It is time to stand up and say, I will not live in fear. I will not shrink myself to make someone else comfortable. I will not lose myself just to keep the peace. Because peace should never have to be fought for. My friend, you deserve a love that brings you peace. And if that love is not there, then maybe, just maybe, it's time to walk away. Love is supposed to fill you up. It's supposed to be a source of strength, a place where you recharge, where you feel safe enough to rest. A healthy relationship should feel like a warm embrace at the end of a long, hard day. It should bring you peace, comfort, and energy. But what happens when love doesn't restore you? What happens when instead of feeling uplifted, you feel exhausted? When every conversation, every interaction, every moment with your partner leaves you feeling drained, physically, mentally, emotionally? This, my friend, is not love. This is emotional exhaustion. At first, you might not notice it. You might brush off the constant tension, the endless arguments, the feeling that no matter what you do, it's never enough. You tell yourself relationships take effort. You believe that love means sacrifice, and you are willing to give. But over time, you start to realize that you are the only one giving. You wake up in the morning already feeling heavy. The thought of another day filled with misunderstandings, unspoken expectations, and emotional strain makes your heart sink. You find yourself dreading the next phone call, the next conversation, because you know it will only take more from you, and you have nothing left to give. Maybe you've been in a relationship where your emotions were never considered, where you were always the one expected to understand, to compromise, to fix things. Maybe you had to be the strong one, the one who always kept the peace, the one who carried the weight of the relationship on your shoulders. When your partner was upset, it was your job to calm them down. When your partner was distant, it was your job to bring them back. When your partner was unhappy, it was your job to make things better. But what about you? A healthy relationship is like a dance, both people moving together, supporting one another, stepping in rhythm. But when only one person is doing all the work, it stops being a dance. It becomes a burden. And my friend, love should never feel like a burden. Imagine pouring water from a cup. Each time you give emotionally, each time you listen, support, encourage, you pour a little more out. Now, in a healthy relationship, your partner does the same for you. They pour back into your cup. They listen when you need to talk. They comfort you when you are struggling. They remind you that you are not in this alone. But in a toxic relationship, the pouring only goes one way. You keep giving and giving and giving until the cup is empty, and then what? You have nothing left. You try to keep going, running on empty, but you feel the effects. You are constantly tired, even when you've had enough sleep. You feel anxious, like you're always waiting for the next emotional blow. You have lost interest in things you once loved because you are too drained to enjoy them. You feel like you are carrying the weight of the world with no one to help you. And the worst part, you start to forget who you are. Because when you spend all your energy trying to keep someone else happy, you have no energy left to take care of yourself. You stop dreaming. You stop laughing. You stop feeling like you. Maybe you've found yourself canceling plans with friends because your partner gets jealous or makes you feel guilty. Maybe you've stopped sharing your thoughts and feelings because you know they will only be dismissed or turned into an argument. Maybe you've learned that no matter how much love you give, it will never be enough to fix what is broken in them. But let me tell you something, my friend. It is not your job to fix them. It is not your job to be the only one giving, the only one trying, the only one making sacrifices. That is not love. That is emotional exhaustion. Love is a partnership. It is two people giving, two people receiving, two people holding each other up. It is a safe place where you can rest, knowing that you are loved not just for what you do, but for who you are. If you are in a relationship where you feel emotionally drained, where you feel like you are running on empty every single day, it is time to ask yourself, is this love or is this just survival? Because real love does not take everything from you and leave you with nothing. Real love restores. Real love gives as much as it receives. Real love fills your cup instead of emptying it. You deserve a love that lifts you up, a love that does not make you feel like you are carrying the world alone, a love that gives back what you so freely give. And if you are not getting that, my friend, then maybe, just maybe, it's time to walk away. Love is meant to be built on trust. It is meant to be a place where you can let your guard down, where you can be vulnerable without fear. A relationship should be a foundation of security, where both partners believe in each other, stand by each other, and have faith in the love they share. But when jealousy creeps in, when distrust takes root, that foundation begins to crack. And, my friend, love cannot grow in the presence of fear and suspicion. Jealousy does not start as a wildfire. It starts as a small spark, a passing comment, a raised eyebrow, a lingering doubt. Who were you talking to just now? Why did you like that person's photo? Why didn't you answer my call immediately? Are you sure you were really at work? At first, you may think it's normal. After all, a little jealousy can be flattering, right? It might even seem like proof that your partner cares. But what happens when that jealousy turns into control? What happens when simple questions become interrogations? When innocent actions turn into accusations? When your every move is watched, doubted, questioned? Jealousy, when left unchecked, is like a vine that wraps itself around love, suffocating it, strangling it, until there is nothing left but fear and exhaustion. Imagine this. You go out with friends for a simple dinner, just an evening to relax. You smile, you laugh, you enjoy yourself. But the moment you get home, the questions start. Why did you stay out so long? Who was there with you? Why didn't you text me more often? Were there any men/women there? And no matter what you say, it is never enough. No answer is good enough to silence their doubts. No reassurance can ease their insecurity. They don't want the truth. They want control. You find yourself changing not because you want to, but because you are afraid. You stop hanging out with certain friends because it upsets them. You avoid mentioning a coworker's name because you know it will start a fight. You constantly explain yourself, trying to prove you are faithful even though you have done nothing wrong. You feel guilty for things that shouldn't even be a problem because their jealousy has made you feel like you are always at fault. And what about distrust? Jealousy and distrust go hand in hand. Where one exists, the other is never far behind. When someone is consumed by jealousy, they cannot trust, and when there is no trust, there is no peace. Imagine being in a relationship where every word you say is questioned, where every plan you make is viewed with suspicion, where your phone is checked, your messages are read, your privacy is invaded, all in the name of love. But that is not love. Love says, I trust you. Jealousy says, prove yourself to me. Love says, I believe in you. Distrust says you must be hiding something. Love says, I want you to be happy. Jealousy says, I want to control you. A jealous partner will convince you that their jealousy is your fault. That if you just acted differently, dressed differently, spoke differently, they wouldn't have to feel this way. If you didn't smile at people so much, I wouldn't feel this way. If you didn't post pictures online, I wouldn't get jealous. If you just let me see your phone, I wouldn't have to worry. But let me tell you something, my friend. Their jealousy is not your burden to carry. Jealousy is not a sign of love. It is a sign of insecurity. It is a sign of control, a sign of fear, a sign that someone is projecting their own doubts onto you. A loving partner does not make you feel like a prisoner. They do not make you feel like you must constantly prove your innocence. They do not turn your love into a courtroom where you must defend yourself against accusations that have no foundation. Real love trusts. It does not check your phone behind your back. It does not track your location out of suspicion. It does not make you feel guilty for having a life outside of the relationship. If you are in a relationship where jealousy and distrust have replaced peace and security, then I ask you, is this really love? Because, my friend, love should make you feel free, not trapped. It should make you feel cherished, not doubted. It should make you feel trusted, not constantly tested. And if you are giving your love, your faithfulness, your loyalty only to receive suspicion in return, then maybe it is time to ask yourself, is this love building me up or is it breaking me down? Because the love you deserve does not come with chains. It comes with trust, security, and freedom to be yourself. And if someone cannot give you that, then maybe, just maybe, it's time to walk away. Love should be a place of honesty, respect, and freedom. It should allow you to be yourself without fear of judgment or control. It should lift you up, not weigh you down. But what happens when love is twisted into something else? When instead of being a place of safety, it becomes a web of manipulation and guilt? What happens when the person who is supposed to love you the most uses your emotions against you, shaping your thoughts and actions to serve their own need? Manipulation is one of the most dangerous and toxic weapons in a relationship because it doesn't always appear as obvious control. It is subtle. It is disguised as care, as love, as concern, but beneath the surface, it is about power. The power to bend you, to break you, to make you feel responsible for their emotions, their actions, their happiness. It begins so softly, so gently, that you don't even realize it's happening. I just want what's best for you. You wouldn't do this if you really loved me. I guess I'm just not that important to you. I never said that. You're just remembering it wrong. Little by little, you start to doubt yourself. You start to wonder if you are the problem. And before you know it, you are trapped in a cycle where your feelings no longer belong to you. They are dictated by the one who manipulates you. Imagine this. You have a partner who constantly makes you feel like everything is your fault. Every argument, every misunderstanding, every issue, it always comes back to something you did wrong. Even when you know deep down that their actions are hurtful, they twist the situation until you are the one apologizing. If they yell at you, it's because you made them angry. If they ignore you for days, it's because you hurt them first. If they betray you, it's because you pushed them away. No matter what happens, you are the one carrying the guilt. They make you feel like you are walking through a maze of emotions where the rules constantly change. One day something is fine, the next day that same thing becomes a reason for blame, a reason for punishment. You learn to second guess yourself. You start to believe that if only you tried harder, if only you changed a little more, then maybe, just maybe, they would be happy. But here's the truth. You will never be enough for someone who thrives on controlling you. Manipulators use guilt as a leash. They know exactly how to make you feel responsible for their pain, for their mistakes, for their unhappiness. I gave up so much for you, and this is how you treat me? If you leave me, I'll have nothing left. I sacrificed everything for this relationship, but I guess that doesn't mean anything to you. I'm only like this because of what you did to me. And so you stay, not because you are happy, but because you feel guilty for leaving. You stay because they have convinced you that it is your duty to fix them, to save them, to endure their pain so they don't have to. You stay because they have made you believe that walking away would make you a selfish, heartless person. But my friend, you are not responsible for fixing what you did not break. Love is not supposed to feel like an emotional debt that you must keep paying. It is not supposed to make you feel like you are constantly at fault, constantly wrong, constantly bending until there is nothing left of you. A healthy relationship does not demand that you carry someone else's guilt. It does not manipulate you into staying. It does not twist your emotions to serve one person's desires. Real love frees you. It allows you to express yourself without fear. It makes space for your thoughts, your needs, your happiness. It does not hold you hostage with guilt. If you find yourself in a relationship where your emotions are constantly being used against you, where you feel like you are always apologizing, always questioning yourself, always carrying the weight of someone else's pain, then ask yourself, is this love or is this control? Because love should never feel like a burden you are forced to carry alone. Love should never make you feel guilty for wanting to be happy. Love should never make you feel like you are losing yourself just to keep someone else satisfied. If manipulation and guilt are the foundation of your relationship, then, my friend, it is time to let go. Because you deserve a love that does not manipulate, a love that does not make you feel guilty for simply being who you are. And if that love is not there, then maybe, just maybe, it's time to walk away. Trust is the foundation of every strong relationship. It is the glue that holds love together, the bridge that connects two hearts, the promise that no matter what happens, truth will always stand between you. But what happens when that trust is shattered, when words no longer carry honesty, when promises are empty, when you start to question everything your partner says? What happens when lies replace truth, when deception takes the place of sincerity? At first, the lies may seem small, harmless even. I was just too busy to call. I never saw your message. It's not a big deal. Don't overthink it. And you believe them, because why wouldn't you? You love this person, you trust them, you want to see the best in them. But soon the lies grow. They become more frequent, more complicated. You start to notice inconsistencies, half-truths, explanations that don't quite add up. But every time you ask, every time you try to seek clarity, they brush it off. Why are you making a big deal out of nothing? You're always trying to start a fight. You're being paranoid. And so you doubt yourself instead. You convince yourself that maybe you are overreacting, that maybe you're just imagining things. But deep down, a seed of doubt has been planted. And once that seed is there, it grows. Lies are like cracks in glass. The first one may seem insignificant, barely noticeable, but over time, with every new deception, with every new false promise, those cracks spread until the glass shatters completely. And when that happens, when you finally see the web of deception that has been spun around you, it changes everything. You start to question every word they say. You wonder if anything they told you was ever true. You replay past conversations in your mind, searching for signs you missed. You feel foolish for trusting them, for believing in their words, for giving your heart to someone who was never honest with you. But let me tell you something, my friend. Lies say nothing about your worth, but they reveal everything about the person who told them. A person who truly loves you will protect your heart, not play games with it. They will honor your trust, not exploit it. They will tell you the truth, not just when it's easy, but especially when it's hard. Lies are not just about words. They are about control. They are about manipulation. They are about keeping you in the dark so that someone else can have the upper hand. Think about the times you have felt confused, uncertain, like something wasn't quite right. Think about the moments when your gut told you one thing, but their words told you another. That is the power of deception. It makes you doubt your own reality. They say they were somewhere, but something in their voice tells you otherwise. They tell you they love you, but their actions contradict their words. They make promises, but they never follow through. And yet you stay, because you keep hoping that maybe this time they will tell the truth. Maybe this time things will change. But my friend, a person who lies once and faces no consequences will lie again. They will tell you what you want to hear, not because it's true, but because it keeps you close. They will cover their tracks, twist their words, make you feel guilty for questioning them. And with every lie they tell, they steal a little more of your peace, your security, your ability to trust. But here's the truth. Love and deception cannot coexist. Real love does not need to hide behind lies. It does not require secrets, half-truths, or carefully crafted stories. Real love stands in the light, open and honest. Real love does not make you feel like you have to play detective, like you have to search for proof, like you have to catch your partner in a lie just to know the truth. If you have ever found yourself constantly checking their phone, analyzing their words, reading between the lines, wondering if you are being lied to, then let me tell you, this is not love. Because love is not supposed to make you feel like you are walking on unstable ground. It is not supposed to leave you in a constant state of doubt. It is not supposed to make you wonder if the person lying beside you is also lying to you. You deserve a love that is honest, a love that does not make you question your worth, a love that does not play games with your heart. And if you are in a relationship where lies and deception have taken root, then ask yourself, is this the kind of love you want to hold on to? Because, my friend, a love built on lies will always collapse. It is only a matter of time. Love is supposed to feel safe. It is supposed to be a place of refuge, a place where you can be yourself without fear, without pain, without walking on eggshells. But what happens when the person who is supposed to love you becomes the very person who hurts you the most? What happens when love turns into pain, when words become weapons, when hands meant to hold become fists, when love is used as a tool to break you instead of build you? Abuse does not always start as a loud explosion. It does not always begin with bruises or broken bones. It starts subtly, quietly, like a shadow creeping into the relationship unnoticed at first. It starts with small things. A raised voice during an argument, a harsh insult thrown carelessly in frustration, a grip on your wrist just a little too tight, a cold silence that lasts for days as punishment. And because it starts small, you tell yourself it's not a big deal. You convince yourself that maybe they just had a bad day, maybe they didn't mean it, maybe you're overreacting. But my friend, abuse is never just a bad day. It is never something you deserve, and it is never okay. Physical abuse is often the most obvious form. It is the slap, the shove, the grip that leaves marks on your skin and fear in your heart. It is the moment when the person who is supposed to love you crosses a line that should never be crossed. Maybe it only happened once. Maybe they apologized. Maybe they swore it would never happen again. And so you forgive. You stay, you believe them because you love them. But then it happens again and again. And with each time, the apologies come, the promises to change, the desperate pleas for forgiveness. I didn't mean to. I just lost control. You made me so angry. If you didn't act that way, this wouldn't have happened. And suddenly, they are not the problem, you are. Suddenly, their anger, their violence, their hands that have hurt you, it all becomes your fault. And so you try harder. You tiptoe around them. You change the way you speak, the way you dress, the way you breathe, anything to avoid setting them off. But let me tell you something, my friend. No amount of change will ever stop an abuser from abusing, because abuse is not about anger, it is about control. And no matter how much you try to be perfect, no matter how much you try to please them, it will never be enough, because the problem is not you, it is them. But abuse is not always physical. Sometimes there are no bruises on your skin, only wounds in your heart. Verbal abuse can be just as destructive. It is the words that cut deep, the insults that linger in your mind long after they are spoken. It is the voice that tells you you're worthless. No one else would ever want you. You're nothing without me. You're so stupid, so ugly, so pathetic. And after hearing it enough times, you start to believe it. You start to shrink. You start to see yourself through their cruel, distorted eyes. You begin to lose yourself. And then there's emotional abuse, the silent, unseen wounds that take the longest to heal. It is the manipulation, the guilt, the gaslighting. It is being made to feel crazy for questioning their lies. It is the silent treatment that punishes you for things you didn't even do. It is the way they twist every situation so that you are always the villain and they are always the victim. You're imagining things. You're being too sensitive. You always make things worse. I wouldn't have to act this way if you didn't push me. And so you stay, not because you are happy, not because you feel love, but because you are trapped in a cycle of fear and hope. Hope that they will change, hope that things will get better, hope that the person you fell in love with will come back. But let me tell you, hope should never be the reason you stay in a place of pain. Real love does not hurt. Real love does not break you. Real love does not make you afraid. If you find yourself justifying their actions, making excuses for their cruelty, covering up their abuse to protect them, ask yourself, is this love or is this survival? Because love should never make you feel like you are walking through a minefield. It should never make you feel like you are one wrong word away from an explosion. It should never make you feel trapped. If someone truly loves you, they will protect you, not hurt you. They will build you up, not tear you down. They will make you feel safe, not afraid. And if your love does not feel safe, then, my friend, it is not love at all. Love should never feel like a cage. It should never feel like a prison that slowly closes its doors around you, cutting you off from the people who have loved you long before this relationship ever began. But sometimes what starts as love turns into isolation. What starts as a bond between two people becomes a wall that separates you from the rest of the world. At first, it doesn't seem like isolation. It feels like love. It feels like devotion. They just want to spend more time with you. They miss you when you're gone. They tell you, I don't like sharing you with anyone. And in the beginning, it feels flattering. Who wouldn't want to be with someone who cherishes them so much? Who wouldn't want a love that is deep, intense, all-consuming? But love should never consume you to the point where you no longer have anyone else. It starts with small things. Why do you always have to see your friends? Can't you just stay home with me? Your family never liked me. They're always trying to turn you against me. I don't trust your best friend. I think they're jealous of our relationship. I just want you all to myself. No one else understands us the way we do. And so, little by little, you start to pull away. Maybe you cancel plans just to avoid an argument. Maybe you stop answering messages as quickly because you know it will make them upset. Maybe you find yourself making excuses. I'm just too busy. I'll see them another time. They won't understand. But here's the thing. The people who truly love you will always want you to have a life beyond them. Isolation doesn't happen all at once. It is slow, calculated. It is a series of choices you don't even realize you are making until one day you look around and you are alone. You have lost the friends who once knew your laughter. You have drifted from the family who once held you close. The world outside this relationship feels distant, unreachable. And then, when the arguments come, when the fights happen, when the love no longer feels safe, you have nowhere to go. That's exactly how isolation works. It ensures that when you need help, when you need an escape, when you need to hear the truth from someone who actually cares about you, you have no one left to turn to, because isolation is not about love, it is about control. A healthy relationship does not require you to give up the people who have loved you your entire life. It does not demand that you walk away from your support system. It does not make you feel guilty for wanting to spend time with people who bring you joy. Ask yourself, when was the last time you saw your friends without worrying about your partner getting upset? When was the last time you had a conversation with a family member without feeling guilty? When was the last time you made a decision for yourself without feeling the weight of their disapproval? If love is real, it does not take away your world. It does not shrink your life down to just one person. It expands it. A partner who loves you will celebrate your friendships, not resent them. They will encourage you to see your family, not make you feel like you have to choose between them. They will want you to have a life that is full, a heart that is surrounded by love from many places, not just from them. If you ever find yourself feeling trapped, feeling like your world has gotten smaller, feeling like you no longer have the freedom to reach out to the people who love you, please know this: you are not alone. And you do not have to stay in a love that isolates you, because real love connects. It does not cut you off. Real love welcomes. It does not make you feel like you must choose. Real love lets you breathe, lets you grow, lets you be free. And if your love does not do that, my friend, it is time to find the strength to walk back into the arms of the people who never left. There is no prison more suffocating than the one built from your own fear. You wake up every morning with a weight on your chest, an ache in your heart, and a question in your mind: why am I still here? You know this relationship is hurting you. You know you are unhappy. You know that love is not supposed to feel like this, and yet, despite all the pain, despite the sleepless nights, despite the tears that no longer even surprise you, you stay. You stay, not because you don't see the cracks, not because you don't feel the hurt, not because you don't want something better. You stay because leaving feels like an even bigger mountain to climb than staying. You stay because the thought of walking away is terrifying. Because what if leaving is worse than staying? What if you never find love again? What if they really do change? What if you regret it? So you tell yourself, maybe it's not that bad. You remind yourself of the good days, even though they are few. You hold on to the hope that things will get better, even though they never do. But deep down, you know the truth. You feel it in the silence between you. You see it in the way you flinch when they raise their voice. You recognize it in the way your laughter has become rare, your joy has become quiet, your soul has become weary. But the fear grips you. What if they get angry when you try to leave? What if they beg and promise and cry and you fall for it again? What if you don't know who you are without them? What if being alone is worse than being in this broken love? And so you stay. You stay even though you feel invisible. You stay even though you are exhausted from trying. You stay even though you have replayed the scenario in your head 1,000 times, packing your bags, walking out the door, reclaiming your life. You imagine yourself being free. You imagine yourself breathing deeply again. You imagine yourself rediscovering who you used to be before this love drained the light from your eyes. And yet every time you get close to leaving, fear whispers in your ear and you hesitate and you stay. Fear is a powerful chain. It convinces you that you are safer in a place that is killing your spirit than in the unknown. It convinces you that leaving is the risk, when in reality, staying is the real danger. Let me tell you something, my friend. If you are unhappy, if you are hurting, if you feel trapped, then you are already losing. Staying is not saving you. It is not making you stronger. It is not keeping you safe. It is only delaying the inevitable. Because one day, whether it's a week from now or years from now, you will realize that no amount of waiting, no amount of hoping, no amount of convincing yourself otherwise can change the fact that this is not love. Love should not make you feel afraid. Love should not make you feel like a prison. Love should not make you feel like you are walking through life with a weight on your shoulders that never lifts. Real love should feel like home. It should feel like peace. It should feel like freedom. And if you are in a relationship that feels like a trap, a love that suffocates you, a situation that makes you feel stuck, then hear me now. You deserve more than this. I know leaving feels impossible. I know the fear is real. I know it feels like you may never find your way on your own. But let me remind you of something. You were someone before this relationship, and you will be someone after it. You are stronger than you think. You are more capable than you believe. You are not alone. And when you finally take that step, when you finally choose yourself, when you finally walk away from the love that kept you trapped, you will realize something. You were never really stuck. You were just waiting for the moment when you were ready to be free.